Welcome to Libertarian Atheist Skypecast. Today is May 4th and it's Thursday, 2017. And we have Curran, John, Betsy, Jeremy, and Heather. So welcome everybody.
May the 4th be with you.
Gotta get that
And
Star
also
Wars
with you.
reference
Yes.
in there because it is May 4th.
I saw somebody at work walk through the hallway wearing full Jedi costume. And so I went, May the 4th be with you. And they said, also with you.
That's funny.
It was great.
We did watch finally for the first time The Force Awakens a couple days ago. I actually enjoyed that movie quite a
No,
bit.
Rogue One.
Rogue One. I'm sorry. No, Rogue One is what we watched a few days ago, and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I also did see Force Awakens, which in the theater, which is just maybe a little bit better than the prequels.
May the Force be with you.
Thank you, Ava. But
Hi, Ava.
May the Force be with you.
Did you just say that it's maybe a little bit better than the prequels?
Well, it's better than the prequels, but not as good as the episodes 4 through 6.
You're looking at those movies through childhood tinted glasses.
I'm not actually, because I watch them regularly, and
yeah, I know. So do I. But
certainly, I mean, looking at it as objectively as possible compared to other films, at least Empire Strikes Back is a good movie.
they're all good movies, but I mean, you had two geriatric people tapping sticks against each other, and some pretty crappy acting. And,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying that it wasn't revolutionary for its day. It was, and it is. But let's call a spade a spade. I mean, it was.
See, and I liked them all.
It goes with the
I'm
genre.
with you. I liked them all.
It's all in line with the genre. Flash Gordon movie, I think it was a really good movie, but that is cheesy as all get out. I mean, come on.
But I think it was going for cheese. I think it was going for camp.
I think George Lucas was going for cheese too, because he based all of his whole storyline and style off of like the original Flash Gordon and older 40s and 50s space opera sci-fi cheese. He was kind of emulating that. But once again, we're off topic. So today,
Cracks me up.
today we're going to try and catch up because we were going to record last week. So we'll jump right into topic number one that was discussed. This happened a few weeks ago now. The mayor of San Antonio, according to headlines, blames atheism for poverty. Basically, is how this is from a couple different sources. Such as the Blaze actually corrected it because
Right.
If one headline from Independent Journal Review, and actually I think New York Times also made the same headline. The headline basically says San Antonio mayor adds atheists to list of people who are causing poverty, and then the Blaze has a counter argument. The Blaze being the conservative Glenn Beck run news outlet, basically saying what she really said, and
Which is what?
the quote is, and I'm bringing it up here. She was addressing the Christian Coalition in Houston, and she says, "Since you're with the Christian Coalition, I'll go ahead and put it out there that to me, it's broken people not being in a relationship with their Creator, and therefore not being in a good relationship with their families and their communities, and not being productive members of society. I think that's the ultimate answer." And basically, she was being asked about the root of poverty. So, she's talking about people being unfaithful to God.
Right.
But nowhere did she say atheist or atheism.
Right.
Can you
So it could just be Christians that aren't following God. I mean, that's a very deep root of fundamentalism. It's not even whether you're born again or not, but whether you're following the Lord, And if you're not, then that can lead all kinds of openings for Satan to work in your life.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I think
And
of it
poverty
too,
would be one of them. And I think that's what she was leading toward more.
Yeah, she
I
never
think
said
so,
anything
too.
about atheism. I mean,
She
of course she didn't.
And-
You could arguably include atheism in what she described. I guess.
Can I just say the thing that shocked me the most about her?
What's that?
this is off topic to an extent, but when I first looked at that article, I went, "Holy shit! They have a Christian black female as the mayor of San Antonio."
Yeah,
Definitely interesting for sure.
that's true.
I mean, I guess
I've been to San Antonio,
in
Texas.
Libertarian groups as well, but everybody's like, on the left, it's all inclusion, and tolerance, and everybody. You gotta, but it's always just like a sea of white faces saying it.
Right.
The white guilt.
But then when you get, well, but then I mean, look, even in England, they've got 2 female prime ministers under the Conservative belt now.
Right.
They've got Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah, it is. You're right. I noticed that, John. It's funny. It's so, yeah. The identity politics left likes to complain about the boogeyman that is the white male, when it's a bunch of angry white people telling everyone how they should treat people of other races and backgrounds, genders, what have you, and then more and more conservative people of color, women, LGBTQ conservatives. I mean, it's all and yeah, and like John was saying, if you look over to the left, it's a whiteout. It's hilarious.
Yep. I mean, San Antonio is one of the more progressive cities in Texas.
It's close to Austin,
I mean,
so yeah.
But look at Portland. You know, it's like the most progressive cities out there, and it's a whitopia. You know, and it's. But they're like, inclusion. Like,
right.
You're saying this for your friend Gary, who's the only guy you know that's a minority that lives in Portland, right? I don't know. It always strikes me as ironic.
It is. It's hilarious. But yeah. So, and I mean, I've been to San Antonio. San Antonio is not a white town. I actually had to look for white people when I was in San Antonio.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of Hispanic mostly.
A lot of
Hispanic.
A lot of Latinos, Hispanics, yeah.
Right.
Lots of black people, a ton of black people, yeah. And some white people. I mean, I don't think there's any demographic group really that has an actual majority in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, but I mean, but the amount of white people is still pretty large. But yeah, it's not like it's pretty much an even distribution between the black and white and brown people, from what I could tell.
Well, my question about this is, sorry, meeting.
That's okay.
Her qualifications for making the statements she's making. I looked at her. She has an undergrad in history, and the other part is like civil engineering or something along those lines.
Okay.
So, what qualifications? I mean, other than it's her personal belief and opinion of what she stated, nothing more than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Well, I mean, of course, so she's a mayor, so she's in a position of authority, so that the press is going to print her opinions, whatever they may be. So.
Well, it says she's an urban planner.
Okay.
I'm reading like her full response. She was an urban planner, District 2 councilwoman, and now mayor. But maybe the urban planning, she was working in the inner city with a lot of poor people, but still everything comes through the filter of her faith.
Yeah. Who's gonna? I mean, in my what I've been able to observe by living in poverty and being in impoverished places myself is there's a lot of religion going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also like just what she's saying, just on its face, just wrong.
Yeah, the highest areas of poverty are the most devoted religious people, like in the South.
And I'm not just talking about atheists, but I mean even people like that are lacking faith. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people that do lack faith in poor communities.
Sure.
And they're just kind of being hedonistic about life, but there's also.
But I think poverty gives rise to more faith because that's all they have.
Yeah.
I mean, when you don't have, and it gives them hope, even if it's a false hope, that things will be better in the future, even if it's eternal life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
People that are hopeless
I don't know.
sometimes.
I don't know if you can say that. I mean,
but I think that's how they
America
think.
was at its most prosperous when it was still, incredibly religious, you know.
Right,
so there are other factors that play into that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not defending religious beliefs. I'm just saying that I think it's just as stupid to say that atheists are at fault for all the world's problems as it is to say that religion is the problem and everything that, you know.
No, I'm not saying that religion causes poverty. I'm just saying that there's no correlation between the non-religious and poverty.
Yeah, I don't think, and I think that's simply just by sheer numbers, you know. 'Cause
Sure.
I think, you know, religious people are still definitely the majority.
Religion is like baggage that you can drop. It doesn't necessarily cause problems. It's just gonna it's just gonna slow things down. It stifles innovation. It stifles, you know, development of things like philosophy and
rational thinking.
Yeah.
Well, and you see that because I mean the far left is just as bad as the far right, you know. But just in different ways. So. But I think, you know, it isn't, like John said, it's not necessarily, you know, religion that makes them that way. I mean, people that live in extreme poverty usually are religious, you know.
Mm-hmm.
People are
I think that's just because they're the last to let it go.
Yeah. Well, and it's so ingrained. It's like they follow it blindly because they just, you know, they just believe it to be true. Mm. They do what they're told.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't like that. So, speaking of doing what they're told, there's the suggestion that Bill Nye is a leftist shill, thanks to his new Netflix series that's targeted at adults. It's called Bill Nye Saves the World, I believe. I did want to actually play a clip.
How arrogant can you even title?
Bill Nye Saves the World? Really?
I think that's what it's called. Honestly,
That's what it's called.
Let me verify.
How arrogant can you?
That's
be?
unbelievable.
It is. You're correct. It's Bill Nye Saves the World. How arrogant do you have to be to call your show that?
How much pot should I bring for smoking while watching this?
Yeah, it is.
God.
Bill Nye Saves the World. It's got a 63% rating on Metacritic, 75% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 3.6 out of 10 on IMDb. Ouch.
Wow.
Wow.
3.6.
Burn.
Woo! Wow, that is a terrible rating. So basically, his talk on gender started stirring the controversy around his show about him, you know, being a shill for leftist ideas and his show lacking substance and not being educational as it used to be. I'm going to go ahead and play a clip that I found from that episode here for us. So, 1 second.
One thing's clear about sexuality. There's a lot more going on than meets the eye.
Please don't play the song.
Female or male, gay or straight, pink or blue. We were taught to see these as binary. Now we're realizing it's more like a kaleidoscope. And this stuff isn't just for adults. Parents know this already. Kids explore gender, expression, attraction before they've ever heard of a spectrum. Take sex. We used to think it was pretty straightforward. X and a Y chromosome for males, 2 X's for females. But we see more combinations than that in real life. And even for people with just 2 sex chromosomes, hormones can vary wildly. So can anatomy. What makes someone male or female isn't so clear-cut. How about attraction? Some people argue the natural thing is to only be attracted to the opposite sex. But in practice, it ain't so simple, kids. Some people are gay, some are bi, some are asexual, and some will take whatever they can get. Know what I mean? It's another sexy sliding scale. When you throw in gender, it gets even more colorful. By 3 or 4, most kids identify with a gender, and it doesn't always match the sex they were assigned at birth. And a person's gender identity may change over their lifetime. And culture is getting us new ways to express all
Kind
of
of
this.
describe
How
his
you
dude,
dress,
like
how you act,
the
talk,
setup in
how
the
you present
studio
yourself
has
to
really
the
just
world. It should be up to
cheesy,
you.
hokey,
Sure,
nothing.
this might make things confusing for those who insist
say that.
everyone pick an M or an F. But people, we have to listen to the science. And the science says we're all on a spectrum. Our labels, our fashion, even our washrooms are still catching up to that truth. I think you'll find when we look at sexuality this way, it is more complicated, but it's also a lot more honest. And it's more interesting. I learned a lot tonight. I mean, I'm this cis male guy who's been living in this world. But this stuff, to me, from a scientific standpoint, is just cool. Science is the process by which we understand nature, by which we understand our place in the world, how we all fit in. And so every one of these insights is just so exciting for me. We, working together, can, dare I say it, save the world. So everybody, that's our show.
Okay, so did Bill Nye save the world?
That's so much cringe. I mean, this is like getting the birds and the bees not from your parents but from your uncle.
That's good.
It kind of is.
Now we're all thinking of our uncle that would be.
I'm thinking the uncle is still we turned into the creepy old uncle.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's like, I don't know, man. Just the way he was, even during that song when he's like trying to do his old guy dance, or the, some of us will just take whatever we can get, and it's just like, dude, you were cool because you embraced your nerdiness, not because you tried to emulate Pip. You made nerd Pip. You didn't try to modify nerdiness to be him. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, the topic you discuss, I guess I'm probably pragmatic about modern gender identity and identity politics, really. So I don't really necessarily disagree with a lot of what he's saying. It's just so corny. And
I don't.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't want to. I do this too often. I monopolize the conversation.
Well, I mean,
Nye is destroying his reputation as a presenter of science. He's going down the avenue to make himself look popular, and I think it's detrimental to what he was originally presenting, counter to what he put forward in a lot of ways.
See, and that's the part of the controversy is, it's called into question his scientific credentials. He's not a scientist. He is a he rather was until he got into show business a professional engineer, and he does have
Which patents. Is still science.
Yeah.
Engineering is a science. It requires math and science to become an engineer. So I would classify him as a scientist. Whether he
Shut
does.
Up, geologist. Nobody's buying it.
If I could throw a rock at you right now, I would.
What kind?
You probably throw limestone at me and it just disintegrate.
No, I'd use uranium. Give you a lasting legacy. Anyway, digression.
Well, I mean, I guess about what his analysis of gender is actually wrong. At least I would agree that in terms of gender roles, and even to an extent gender expression is on a spectrum. But, I mean, to say that we need more pronouns than male and female, I don't think we need that.
I'm not saying that gender isn't on a spectrum.
Okay.
What I am saying is that the spectrum is like the Golden Gate Bridge. And you've got small tails on either side, a small middle, and two giant spikes in the middle. And to pretend that it's just this homogeneous level spectrum, like because he keeps saying colors, right? So it's like this flat rainbow spectrum. And I'm not denying that there are people that can fit into all the categories that he's talking about. But it's very disingenuous to say that, like, everybody's something different. No.
Right, I agree with you. The vast majority of people are male or female.
Yeah.
And hello?
Sorry, I have to go.
Oh.
Okay.
See you, Karen.
Bye. Okay.
Yeah, Alaska's calling.
Must be his uncle.
If he needs the birds and the bees talk, then we're in trouble.
Hope it was Alaska, but it's kind of. What time is it in Alaska right now?
Yeah, it should be like
5:30.
Is that on the same time as you, John?
It'd be right around this.
Yeah.
Are they in the Hawaii time zone? I believe so.
Oh, are they? Oh, maybe.
Well,
in which case it's even earlier in the day. It's 5:30 here.
Okay.
it's true.
Anyway.
And then I believe. Well, I know Hawaii would be another 3 hours behind Pacific time. Or is it 2?
So it'll be 2:30
Something like that,
in
yeah.
Hawaii. Yeah.
And I don't know what the time zone in Alaska is. I think.
I hope that job comes through for him. He's really been
I know, me too.
really trying for a long time.
Yeah.
Podcast.
Okay. We're getting off topic again. Oh, okay. So.
All right, back to the subject.
About the gender. So, okay. Yeah, John, you were saying that gender is on a spectrum. I guess how important is the anatomy of the person to the gender? That's probably the real scientific question.
I guess my issue isn't even so much as is that pertinent to the conversation. My question is when a doctor pulls the kid out and goes, I see a penis, it's a boy. Can't we just say that boy refers to your genitalia then?
I mean, definitely, you know,
Yes, I agree.
definitely in terms of when the child is born.
I think when the child reaches an age where they decide who they are themselves, that's when you can address them how they want to be addressed.
That's for sure.
But I mean, biologically, you can't change who you are. You know,
Right.
you are who you are. I mean, that's just the way it is.
A transsexual woman is still going to have a very high rate of prostate cancer because, well, I mean, she's going to risk prostate cancer because she has one.
Right.
I don't think I think, you know, and of course, I just believe, though, that people can, you know, in personal liberty, and, like, if they want to be a female, that's perfectly fine by me. I don't care. It's not affecting my life in any negative way.
Exactly.
A transsexual woman.
So, you know, if that's what they want to be called as a woman, then I'll say, yeah, you're a woman.
A transsexual woman is still going to get testicular cancer, even if they're post-op. You know,
Yep.
A transsexual man will still get a risk of ovarian cancer. I mean, so for purposes of medicine, biological sex is completely valid. A lot of trans activists try and diminish or even just dismiss entirely the concept of biological sex. That's dangerous. It's ridiculous. Why would you? I mean, okay, so people are just going to like, oh, you have a human being. What kind of gender? Well, we'll have to wait until it tells us. I'm like, no. I mean, you know, the fact the anatomy of the person does matter, even if they don't, even if their gender identity doesn't match up with their anatomy. You know.
This is why when it came up in the forum, this is why I said that to me it's kind of like a disabled person, somebody who's born disabled. You know, the infamous flipper babies of the 70s or something. Look, and I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that gender dysphoria is a disability.
Yeah.
My point is that physiological biology failed you in some way. You know, I mean, not maybe that's even too strong to say it like that, but that you don't match up for some way. But it does no good to pretend that I was born without legs, but you all have to pretend I was. You know, I mean, it's like, look, the body you were born with doesn't match up with what it should feel like in your mind. But it doesn't do any good for you to pretend and insist that others pretend likewise that this is how it's supposed to be. Again, you know, I'm not denying that this is a perfectly valid thing that can happen in an evolutionary development. You know, it's just recognize that you are, for better or worse, you're one of the fringe. You're on the tails, and it's not the norm because an evolution strives to maintain a norm. Evolution is a conservative force.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, I think just for context, you know, if for people listening, even though I am basically in the same camp as you, John, and would say that there's two genders that there's a spectrum of gender expression between those two. I would count myself up as one of those persons that doesn't fit neatly into the gender identity. So I display effeminate qualities in my appearance and behavior. So yeah, gender expression is definitely a spectrum that's widely distributed. But yeah, it's like you said, it's most people fit into one side or the other, and that's nature.
So, question for you then.
Okay.
I mean, back in the day, we had tomboys, and the less friendly mama's boy, expressions for it. I mean, do you look at yourself and go, "There's something wrong with my gender," or do you just think that it's personality trait?
It's a personality trait, really. For me, definitely, it's absolutely a personality trait, and for probably most of the people that identify as some sort of gender fluidity, it is also a personality trait.
So I guess I question deciding that that's a gender issue so much as just a personality issue.
Well, I mean, gender roles to me are personality. Because, gender roles are mutable from culture to culture. The male gender roles in Western society compared to gender roles in Eastern society compared to modern society to whatever period in history society, they're mutable. I mean, after all, the first people that wore makeup were men,
Yeah, but they wore it for very different reasons, though. The makeup they wore was to make themselves look fierce, and to make themselves was to mark them as people not to mess with. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and it's like which came first, culture, or it's the nature versus nurture debate in its own way. So it's like which came first, culture or I don't know. I guess I'm just saying that I think that people have probably always existed like this.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's only. And yeah, I guess you could say it's like kind of like the autism thing, when like people are like, oh, there's so many autism, and it used to be. Well, that's because we didn't have a name for it before. But
yeah,
I think that there's always been people like this, but since this was just never even something that was even considered a possibility, they just went, hey, I'm an effeminate guy, whatever.
Yeah.
Or hey, I'm a tomboyish woman, whatever. It never crossed anybody's mind that, oh, actually, I'm on a spectrum of gender, and
It's packaging and labeling, kind of, is what it boils down to, I guess. I mean, if you put it that way, and I don't think that's wrong to characterize it that way.
And again, I'd like to emphasize what Heather said earlier. I got no problem with it.
Right.
It doesn't affect me in the slightest. But life is too damn short not to try and find happiness in it.
Exactly.
That's written into our Constitution, for the love of God. So by all means, none of the. I'm a firm believer that even on the right, this would not be an issue to the extent that it is, if it were not for the fact that it was like, you must play ball and you must play by our rules or else. And it was the or else that got stuck in everybody's craw.
Right.
So, just in the interest of trying to cover all these topics we're talking about, there was also, and this is another suggestion, this is back from April 23rd, so it was a couple weeks ago. Another suggestion for a topic was a Forbes editorial. Adam Ozimek, I'm not familiar with the writer, but that's his name. Libertarianism needs to become more realistic. And
oh, that's right. That was a good article, but I can't remember what it was about now.
Right, and I mean,
depends on if you're talking about it as a philosophy or as a political movement.
Well, what I got out of the editorial was that libertarians need to stop being libertarians if they want to be successful politically. Which, okay, well, then what's the point of there being a libertarian party if you're not actually going to take any libertarian positions? And I'm just scanning through the article for some choice quotes here. Let me just start reading it, actually. Libertarianism is important, and I want it to be more influential. For it to do this though it has to become more realistic. And I believe a major impediment is that many, though not all, libertarians imagine a vision of a society that the vast majority of Americans simply do not want. If they somehow manage to win electoral power for a short time and execute their vision, it will be tremendously short-lived with a massive backlash. For proof of this, I think people just need to look around to state and local government. Most of us have little choice about which federal government we live under. If you're unwilling to leave the country, you're basically stuck with what we've got. This makes it easy to assume that government isn't mostly giving us what we want, but is imposing it on us due to the influence of special interests. However, we have a lot of choice over our state and local government. Only 58% of people currently live in the state in which they were born. They share living in a different country.
County,
Yes. I was going to say. They share living in a different county than they were born. They share living in a different county.
The share living in a different county.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. That was cut off by the top of my screen. Living in a different county were born, would it be even higher? Every 1.5% of people move to a different state, and 2.4% move to a different county in the same state. With all of this movement, people exhibit a fair bit of choice in the long run over what kind of state government they live under, and in the short run, they have a lot of choice about the kind of local government. This mobility provides an important check on state and local government. And yet, state and local governments do not attempt to usher in anywhere near the libertarian utopia that so many dream of. It's true that federal mandates set something of a binding constraint. For example, no local government should stop providing K-12 education in some form. However, for the most part, federally mandated minimum of what must be provided are not binding constraint. Local school districts spend a lot. Okay, so on about the school. Of course, libertarian explanation for generosity of state and local government in some places. One is that have anti-market biases in their voting because the cost of each individual vote is zero. In other words, voting is cheap. This is the myth of the rational voter case. However, with the voice constraint may be subject to systematic bias, the exit option is not. If people truly valued having less government like libertarians imagine, then tie-bout competition should counter the pro-government biases at the local level.
That's bullcrap.
Yeah, so I mean, it's that's kind of setting up the theme for the rest of the editorial. Government provides services that people want, so making government smaller is something that libertarians need to stop concentrating upon. And that's basically
it's a foul. Okay, his conclusion there on that last bit you read, it's moronic in the extreme.
Uh-huh.
It's the idea that Gary would be president right now if people really believed in what you were selling. I think a lot of people do believe in what we're selling.
Uh-huh.
They understand that it's like the prisoner's dilemma. You know, everybody's got to go at once, right? Everybody has to rush the guards at once. There's only one guard, and he's got one gun, and there's 200 of you. But somebody's going to get shot, and nobody wants to be that person. And it takes something drastic for everybody to decide now's the time to rush the guard. And in the meantime, it's just like, well, let's pick the guard that's less brutal, or let's pick the guard that's nicer to us and to what we want.
Uh-huh.
You know? And that's why it doesn't catch on.
I do think that most people, though, in our society believe in government, and they like what the government does.
Well, they want order.
I don't think they're willing to risk giving up what they have.
Yeah, I think they do
for that kind of a change, and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't know exactly what libertarian is. They have kind of a crude understanding of it, and it basically means individualism, survival of the fittest, and kill or be killed. I mean, they think of it, you don't care about the poor, you don't care about anybody but yourself, and there's a lot of myths. But both conservatives and liberals, and we've talked about this a lot, they like government. They just want government to do different things for them.
Yep.
I mean,
Just
who
having an
is going to
advocate.
give up their Social Security? Honestly, who wants to do that?
Yeah.
Even though it's going broke, and even though we all know all the downfalls of it being a Ponzi scheme, but who's going to be first? That's true on that. Who's going to do it? And I just don't know how libertarians ever going to get a big enough following to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And really, it hasn't started. It does kind of make sense that it should start in cities, and I mean, like in New Hampshire, that's kind of an interesting.
Well, and I know even from, like, since Jeremy and I sit on the board of the Douglas County Libertarian Party, which is like, Douglas County is like the main county of Omaha. We're the Omaha County. And, like, we get the voter, registration commission. We get, like, we get a disc from them every month with, like, information on who's registered to vote. So we know who's registered as Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. And we actually... we grew by 58 members. Libertarian Party did it from March to April. Well, from March to April, which was really impressive. We're like, wow.
It was double the rate of... It was basically more than both main parties combined.
Yeah, in growth rate. Mm-hmm. So we're starting to see it.
Something,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to say something that's very unpopular, I suspect.
Sure.
So I need you to understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying it.
Oh, I'm pretty open-minded. I don't get mad at people's opinions.
Banned.
Yep.
Shut up, FDA.
Jack boots are coming.
So I always see in my feed the Alaskan. I don't know why, but I always get the Alaskan Libertarian Party in my feed. For some reason, they think I'm in Alaska or something.
Alaska's a very libertarian state.
What's that?
Alaska's a very libertarian state. I mean, at least like they're governed like one, kind of. I mean,
right. But their picture is always of this, I want to say middle-aged lady with vibrant pink hair and a styrofoam Statue of Liberty hat on. And she's at a podium talking. And I'm sorry, but that's just going to keep scaring away the normies.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep. I mean.
I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't embrace the countercultural side of things, because yes, we absolutely have a place for them. But I mean, the average, 2.5 kids, white picket fence, if there is such a thing, they are not looking at that and going, "That's the party for me."
Right.
Well, it's like a double-edged sword. And I can tell you this because I've been, I'm in fairly deep with like my state Libertarian Party in one way or another, and it's like a double-edged sword because it's like, you want to attract normal people, so like the head party will try and be as respectable as possible, but at the same time, it's like you don't have enough people like participating that you take whoever is willing to really help or run for office. So that's the main problem that libertarianism has is that, they need qualified candidates, so they start to take the dregs, but the dregs don't attract normal people, but normal people won't come, so what do? You got,
Right.
I see it happen time and time again. I've been well-connected to the Libertarian Party of this town for many years, and it's just, it's kind of like, we always talk about our bus system here in Omaha, because the bus system, the routes aren't very good, and it doesn't go very far, because they don't have enough people to ride the bus. But they can't get people to ride the bus because the routes aren't good. So it's like this never-ending cycle. Well, that's exactly the same thing that I see in the Libertarian Party.
Sure.
You can't, you try to attract the normal people, but they don't come, so you take the non-normal people because that's who you can get. And so you end up being a much larger percentage of you. Although I'm starting to kind of get a little excited, I guess, because I'm starting to see more normal. The new wave, like the younger kids coming in, like in their 20s and their early 30s, they're the ones who are like just normal folks. I'm starting to see more of those people get involved in the Libertarian Party. That's pretty exciting, I think. So
Yes,
I think give it another 5 years and things will really get rolling, I think. So.
And I propose as a libertarian solution to the bus route problem in Omaha, easing up ordinances and regulations on rickshaw drivers. And that opens up a whole industry of entrepreneurship for people.
Yeah.
I think we should just do away with all the roads and outfit all the buses with four-wheel drive tires and
There you go.
Yeah, I think it should let people put. They should give people bicycles with like lawnmower motors on them and shit.
Why don't we just build at walkers?
Oh, perfect.
There, no need for roads. They just walk over everything.
There you go.
And
walks through everything.
Yes.
We'll have to widen my roads for this.
Okay. Another topic we're going to discuss was BAM, the Coalition to Defend Affirmative Action, Immigration Rights, and Fight for Equality by Any Means Necessary. That's the name of the whole group. It's a mouthful.
Oh my god.
Um,
Sargon's video on that was perfect.
It was really it was some classic Sargon avocado. It was actually really informative and pretty.
I didn't watch that. What did he say, or what was the?
So.
It's like a 50-minute video, but he just dissects their history, their practices, their behind-the-scenes practices, as well as their public-facing. So, but yeah, it's.
And they have an established connection. They have an established connection to Antifa in Berkeley, California, and
the mayor.
And the mayor, yep. And
oh, really? I read that link you put of that ex-member, Jeremy, that had written out his experiences. You remember that thing you posted? That
terrible story.
Oh, but you know what it reminded me of? Scientology. It sounded almost exactly like what that Leah Remini, in her show that she did on Scientology. Some of the incidents where they literally were holding them captive and, just completely controlling and threatening them. It sounded so much like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why in the Sargon video he very much stresses that it's not so much a political action group as it is a cult.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly. He made a good argument for that.
I'm amazed that guy escaped.
Yeah, I mean he barely did because they took
basically
all of his possessions. Yeah.
Yes, they're going after these kids, which is typical cult, behaviors to go after young, disenfranchised,
the agitators
or whatever.
Agitators at the Berkeley riots are allegedly comprised, at least a good portion of them are comprised of BAM members that they basically allegedly have recruited kids off the street and then turn them into black blockers. So,
and indoctrinate them, right?
Yeah, so.
Very interesting.
That story though was, it's just like, that's what got me. It was really just a harrowing story and really depressing to
Oh yeah, it was almost like, really, this is happening just in any city, USA,
And then the Sargon avocado video where he shows a lot of the video clips. Like I think probably the most disturbing video clip to me was the city council meeting where the students were basically just brought out to appeal on behalf of is it Ferrara? Is that the last name of the one, the small Asian or Latina woman that's part of the leadership? So. You know what I'm talking about, John, because you saw the video. What was you?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can never remember her name because it's so unusual, but. Yeah, she basically brought in her outside thugs to shut down a disciplinary meeting against her, and
then had brought in these brainwashed little kids.
Is it Yvette Falarka?
Yep.
Yvette Falarka?
Falarka, that's right.
That's it.
Okay.
People with no kids in the school system coming in there pretending like they're here. It was such a blatantly obvious. It really fired me up. I think the thing that really pissed me off about watching that was seeing how much the school district did not like her. Yeah. But yet they either couldn't or wouldn't get rid of her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just they wanted to, but it was just it's just basically because of the aggressive and underhanded tactics of BAM. The other main person in the leadership of BAM is, and this is another person I can't remember the name of, but she's a pretty experienced attorney in Oakland. She actually. They brought at least this.
Well, she's the founder of it.
Yeah.
She's the actual founder of it.
She is, yeah.
Is it Shanta?
Yes.
Yeah, that's her.
Shanta something or other? Shanta Driver.
Shanta Driver, there we go, yep. And, okay, so she got to go to the Supreme Court an affirmative action lawsuit, I believe, when they were trying to, when I believe the state of California was going to basically effectively end affirmative action in California, and I believe she sued to get that overturned back in the 90s. That was her claim to fame. So, affirmative action is really, it's a horrible thing.
It is.
And it's not even beneficial to the people it's supposed to protect. In fact, it's harmful.
No, it's harmful to them.
Yeah.
It is.
When a kid who is not prepared for, let's just focus on college. When a kid who's not prepared for the rigor of a particular higher education gets accepted because, I mean, and they've done studies where the dropout rate is disproportionately large because they've been accepted not based on their ability to handle the coursework, but because they tick a box.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then they have such a bad experience that they can't make it, and then it doesn't help them. You're right.
And then it began. I mean, I know Steven Pinker was like, this annoyed me about Pinker because he's big into like, oh, this is good and this is a just thing, and it was like, man, Steven, I agree with you on so much, but I think you're just dead wrong on this.
Okay. Now, another thing that we can talk about, we're finally getting past last week's news. Today was passed the American Healthcare Act, or at least it made it through the House.
Right.
Now, I mean, are we calling this Trump Care? What is it? I mean,
Let's call it Trump Care.
We'll call it Trump Care? Okay. So Trump Care passed the House. It's going to take away the tax penalty if you don't have insurance. I guess that's kind of cool.
That's a good start.
Yeah. I don't know, but
Any news on that in regards to the Senate, though?
Well,
I don't think it's going to come up till June, possibly for the Senate, end of June.
Yeah, and it's probably and it doesn't have a very good likelihood of making it through the Senate, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't know enough about the makeup of the Senate to know what they're thinking.
It could pass.
I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I'd be happy if, just for the initial start, they got rid of the mandate. Just start with that.
That would be. I would be happy. I would consider that a success. Absolutely.
Yep, me too.
I mean,
Yep, get rid of it.
Mandate or anything.
You can't pretend you have any sort of freedom if you have to pay money just because you were born and you breathe.
That's right.
Yep, exactly.
It's like the epitome of force, it really is.
It's that and taxes, just as bad. It's like a tax, really.
It really is a tax.
No, it isn't a tax, though. A tax.
No, but it's
we can all agree that a tax is theft, but a tax is like if I didn't want to pay tax, I could just not work. I could just become homeless.
Yeah.
Right.
But with this bill, you can even be homeless, and they can still say you still have to pay us money. You still have to.
Or in my situation where you don't have a job, and
Right.
money's slow and going out, but because you don't have health care, you're going to be fine. So it's a bill and stuff that's draconian in that nature.
Mm-hmm.
You guys ever see the? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What did you say?
Do you ever see the movie The Pursuit of Happiness? I'm assuming everybody's seen it.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever seen it.
I haven't seen it, but
Oh, you should watch it.
Is that the
like
one
a
with
really
Will Smith
great-
in it?
I have seen. Is Will Smith in that?
Yes.
Oh my
And
God,
it's a
Betsy,
great-
we just said the same thing at the same
It's
time.
a great pro. I don't know. Like, okay, so
I saw
first of
it.
all,
I
he
did.
wants to get rich and he wants to be a stock trader, and he eventually achieves his dream, and he's the hero. He's not the villain,
Right.
which is pretty rare in and of itself. But also, it shows everything that he's trying to do to sacrifice to make it, and how at multiple steps along the way, the government is there to trip him up and stop him. So at one point they take money out of his bank account because he owes them taxes, and they just reach right in, and he was just about to get this deal taken care of, and they came in and they took money. I forgot garnishing. They just garnished it from his bank account, and he was just like, they have a voiceover of the line, and I forget what it is, but it was basically like, thanks to the government being there to help me, I am now screwed.
True story, bro.
You can't trust the banks with your money. Shouldn't. You can come in and take anything that they want out of it, so...
Kern's like the Ron Swanson. He's got gold buried in undisclosed locations.
Yep. And he's got a
And he knows how
stockpile
to
of
mine it.
supplies.
You can put it real deep, because he can...
He
Probably
knows
got
all
some
the best
Bitcoin.
geological sites.
I wish I had a...
Probably
I
got
wish I
some
had a gold
Bitcoin.
mine. I wish I had a gold mine, because you think I'd be claiming all the gold that I know. I'd be showing a loss, but anyway.
That's right.
Do you have
that gold disappeared.
Do you have any Bitcoin, Curran?
No, I do not. I've looked into it and stuff, but then the price went way up out of
Yeah, I noticed that
Bitcoin
too.
apparently crashed today, or at least took a big hit. I don't know where it's at. That's what I heard. The value of Bitcoin.
I'm waiting for Dark Wallet to come out.
It's on hold right now. They're not working on it anymore at the moment.
Yeah, which is a shame. I wish they were, because I think Bitcoin's fine, but I don't think it has the full security that I would prefer on something along the lines of Dark Wallet.
I don't think Bitcoin will be the one that takes off. No.
Bitcoin
is the MySpace of digital currency.
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin is worth $1,558.45 right now for one Bitcoin. So that doesn't look like any crash to me. But I've been hearing talk about a bubble.
I still don't think that's going to be the one that takes off, though.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fluid enough. That's my personal take with it. I tried using it, but I have issues with it. Trying to use it and stuff, so I think it needs some work in regards to be able to function as money, as an alternate.
Yeah.
And once again, in the established where a person has it, but also has anonymity, like using paper currency, not that you certain sense you don't have anonymity, but you know what I mean. Then I think it will take off, but not until it reaches that point.
I don't know. I mean, Bitcoin is really it's probably more of a commodity than a currency. I mean, okay, you can use it in certain ways as a currency. You use commodities as a currency in certain situations too, though.
Sure.
Sure.
I don't know if you can call it a commodity because it has no function outside of, like a commodity is something like wheat, right?
Or gold or silver.
It has uses outside of exchange.
So it has
Bitcoin
actual
has
worth.
no use outside of exchange.
It's like a fiat currency.
It's true.
I don't even know if you could call it a fiat currency. I mean, I guess
kind of. I mean, in the sense that you can't back it up.
I think it's actually more of a collectible. It's a collectible.
Collectible. You can frame it and put it on your wall.
And okay, so, and I'm thinking this because I'm someone that's collected football, baseball, and Magic the Gathering cards. Things that intrinsically are basically worthless.
They're like piece of paper.
You have like a 2-inch by 4-inch piece of cardboard with a picture on it. It has no useful purpose. And the encrypted code that makes each Bitcoin has no useful purpose. But it's the it's the rarity of that encrypted set of code.
But the useful purpose, it doesn't matter what something is. I mean, diamonds tomorrow could have almost no useful purpose if something came along with substitution. So it's a very subjective thing in a certain sense. It's what people trade as value and stuff along those lines.
Well, I mean, but diamonds are inflated, but
I mean, I think what Jeremy said is it's enforced scarcity. That's what gives it its value.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point I'm making. Yeah.
But some commodities do have multiple purposes, like gold.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can use it, make it jewelry, which is valued just because of, like what Kern was saying, in different, like in India, gold, is very valuable for jewels, and it's symbolic for wedding things. And, the more gold a woman has, the more, high up she is in the
Well, think about one
So
of the
not
most.
at all like
Yeah.
America then.
But like you can use gold to fill your tooth also,
Yeah.
or you can. I mean,
Electronics.
you can make utensils out of it, so it's got more intrinsic value, or multiple uses. I mean, whereas Bitcoin, I mean, I don't see that it has any use other than what it was designed to do.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I don't know. We know like
it is.
It's a good starting platform for springboarding off of there, going into something that will eventually replace the national currencies that are out there, I think.
Right.
I'm just as excited by the blockchain technology behind it as I am by the currency use of it, though. I think blockchain technology is going to revolutionize the digital world, and in large part that will filter out to the physical world as well.
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting thing about Bitcoin as well. You know, I looked into it several years back, thinking maybe I might buy some too, and I kind of wish I would have now, just because, like, we know a hardcore libertarian that bought it when it was really cheap, but now his shares are worth a lot. So I mean, it is kind of like, you know, a commodity. Well, not a commodity, but it's something tradable for sure. Yeah.
It's kind of a new genre, you know what I mean? Not throughout all like mankind, but just it's different from anything else that we're used to today.
Yeah, but what makes it really cool is, like John said, is that, you know, how it works.
Right.
It works very interestingly. So.
Oh, here's some a bit of Nebraska news that I found amusing today. There was a mansion here in town from probably about 100 years old or so. That was restored recently, but what was funny is the owner of the mansion was the heir to a family fortune who skipped town because he didn't want to pay the inheritance tax. I just thought it was amusing that they said that what was his last name was Allen. That David Allen, you know, they called him a fugitive because, you know, like, that's not a fugitive, that's a hero to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my family fortune and get the hell out of the States before I have to get hit with that tax.
Exactly.
Yeah. Even just the property taxes thing just bugs me. You know, it's like, it's not yours if they can take it away.
Oh yeah, it's never truly
yours.
yours. It's never truly yours, ever.
Nope.
It's sad.
That's right.
What are other topics we want to discuss? And crickets.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about those crickets, because they're really starting to get pretty statist.
Yep.
Nothing's as status as a deer. I mean, they make roads and shit.
I've been watching, this week I watched a lot of YouTube videos on the Antifa and the BAM.
Uh-huh.
And the more I watch, the more convinced I am that, I mean, don't get me wrong, my sympathies are with the people that go out there and try to push back against them. But honestly, like in Washington here, in Olympia, the capital, they had this Antifa show up, and they were like ready for bear. You know, they had their shields, they had barriers set up, they had roadblocks, they had everything, and nobody showed up for like the longest time. And it was only when they started, like, you could see them, they were set up like a phalanx, you know, with their shields all out the outside. And for like over an hour, nothing happened, and they just started picking up and pulling off and walking away. And it was only at that point that like 4 people came up and they were walking by, and they're like, "Yeah, you're not cleaning up your trash," because they just left trash on the road. and they're like, "Clean up your trash," and it was like they were so excited that somebody was there to push against them in any way, shape, or form. So they ended up macing the 4 people And then the crowd came out in droves and just started throwing rocks at them. And then, of course, the fact that they're all upper middle class little twits
right.
who've never had to face any actual work in their life. They just like melted away. But you could see how excited they were, and I just want to say, like, I'm more and more convinced that the way to deal with them is just to ignore them, starve them for attention.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah, I mean, because they definitely is definitely attention seeking. I've noticed.
I mean, without people watching a protest, there's nothing to it, you know.
The irony is, though, of course, if you try to film it, they get all pissed off.
Of course.
Yep, trying to swat that camera out your hand.
Anybody see the Arizona? They weren't Antifa, but is an Arizona Communist Party that was marching down the streets of the Capitol with all like AK-47s and whatnot.
Oh, they're literal brown shirts. They are the they are dressed in brown. They're
the Cuban Revolution.
Yeah, they're dressed in brown in military uniforms, carrying. Some people are alleging that they're fake rifles. I mean, whatever, but it's carrying rifles, and they represent. It's basically a Latino, Hispanic, whatever, communist party. That's aligned with Antifa. I mean, really,
they were there for the Arizona Trump rally, right?
Right. And I mean, it's. I don't know why anyone would still believe Antifa when they say it, that, we're just anti-fascism, we welcome anybody that's anti-fascism. No, they're a communist organization. That's specifically their focus.
A lot of them will say that. I've seen a couple guys that they get the camera up in their face and, they're asking questions, and one guy in particular was like, no, I don't believe in property. Nobody should be able to own anything. And I hate the guy for not just reaching up and taking his hat off. I'm going to take this then.
Give me 30% of your hat.
Yeah. I like your banner. I'm taking it.
It's I've heard a few different people say it. I think maybe Gavin McInnes was one who said that they're LARPing. They're pretending to be revolutionaries. It's role playing.
They're just acting, right?
Pretty much.
When I was growing up, there was like the parents were all freaked out and concerned that their kids were going to play the D&D back in the day when it was just dice and paper. Mm-hmm. That kids were going to play D&D to the point. There's even a Tom Hanks movie about a guy who gets so into it that it becomes reality to him. So he walks around New York City and he thinks that like people are dragons and wizards and stuff. And and part of it was because he just hated living in where he did, and his life was boring to him. So he just escaped into this fantasy land, to the point where this fantasy land started to become his reality. Now, as a movie, it's ridiculous. But every time I see these Antifa guys, this is all I can think about, is that they're just so desperate to add something of excitement to their lives that this is like, yeah, it's the capitalist conspiracy. You don't know shit.
Mm-hmm.
No, so basically, yeah, I absolutely think it's there's a large LARPing mentality behind it.
Yeah. What else has happened? Oh, Bombay Sapphire Gin has been recalled for having double the alcohol that they claimed. So, I don't know. I'm not a gin drinker, you guys, but apparently.
Why would they recall it? Jeez.
I'm like, isn't that kind of the point of drinking gin, is to get drunk? Wouldn't that make your product better?
Gin is not very good. I've never been a gin drinker.
I like martinis, but I prefer the vodka martinis, not the gin.
Not a hard liquor drinker.
I like gin.
I mean, a good gin martini is okay. Gin and tonic's okay. I prefer vodka, though.
Yep, for sure.
Alex Jones just had a 30-hour marathon.
That's insanity. It's crazy.
That guy can talk incessantly just for nonsense. I mean, because his show daily is 4 hours long.
Was he talking from his bunker or something?
I mean, the InfoWars studio is kind of a bunker, I guess.
I think he's doing that out of desperation because of all the court proceedings. So he's got to like prove that this isn't just a. He's got to reassert that he believes what he's saying.
There's been, yeah. I mean, I think I've noticed at least, or maybe it's just the circle of weird people I've accumulated online. There's like a resurgence in interest in Alex Jones, and it's through memes. Alex Jones memes are hot right now.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people like to take samples of his daily show that he streams online and just
friendly memes, or like, I mean, are they friendly to him or
no? They mock him terribly.
Yeah. So that's I know they say no publicity is bad publicity, but eventually the ship sinks.
Yeah. Yeah. All the memes mock him, but I mean they're popular. It's like there's interest in Alex Jones just for the sake of making fun of him. And I mean, when you say something like, you don't want chemicals put in the water that turn the frickin' frogs gay. I mean,
I think he gained a lot of mainstream recognition when he mocked the Young Turks.
Yeah,
I think that was a point where people like, oh, who is this guy?
Yeah.
You say turn your frogs gay? Did you just say that?
Alex Jones is really against fluoride in the water. And apparently he believes that fluoride in the water has a connection between homosexuality, and that's why we have gay kids now, is because they're drinking fluoridated water. And I guess
if that was true, then the population of the U.S. would be mostly gay then by now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So it's just, I mean, there's some concern. I understand people are concerned about putting fluorine in the water because it could have a detrimental effect upon one's bones long term and all that. So there's also people out there, this may be more conspiracy, that the fluorine proper study wasn't done. There's also a big push by a chemical company to sell fluorine compounds and stuff to cities and all that. So I can understand some concern about it, but when you go off on the deep end like he does about stuff, it totally distracts from one's own.
Yeah.
Right.
You're aware we're talking about Alex Jones, right?
Yeah, I know.
I don't think the man is. I think he was a water birth straight into the deep end, and he never came out.
Is he Bill Hicks?
Love Bill Hicks.
Is he Bill Hicks? I want to hear everybody's opinion on this. Is Alex Jones Bill Hicks?
No, because Bill Hicks is still admired. No, you know what I mean? I mean, Bill Hicks is like the liberal version of Alex Jones, where Alex Jones is the conservative version. But
yeah, but I mean, I think another great thing about mocking Alex Jones is there's conspiracy theories, and I think they're actually like comical, like satire conspiracy theories about Alex Jones. One of those is that Bill Hicks faked his death and then reinvented himself as Alex Jones. And I've seen like the face by side by side face comparisons, and it's good stuff. Alex Jones also.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look for that now. I'm gonna go online and look for that now. That's pretty hilarious.
Alex Jones is supposedly a CIA operative. That's another good.
So he went after the Young Turks, you were saying? I don't really know that much about Alex Jones. How long ago? And Dave Rubin was one of them.
So
right?
There was a pretty big
this
incident.
Is long after Dave Rubin left.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah. This is during the Trump.
I'd to see Dave Rubin have Alex Jones on his show.
No. It wasn't. It was during the primaries. It was during the Democratic primaries.
Yeah.
The Young Turks were hosting their show live at the primaries, and Alex Jones just came and crashed the party.
That was a hilarious
like, hey
incident.
guys, you like our Hillary for Prison shirts? And Chuck or whatever,
Cenk Uygur.
He
lost
totally
his shit.
Lost his damn mind,
my
and
God.
it just gave Alex Jones credibility.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna look it up and play it because it is hilarious. Yeah, Cenk
Uygur
lost his shit.
I know who they are, but I don't know much about them, and I have never listened to Alex Jones either. Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. I mean, there's a wealth of hilarious Alex Jones videos, but I gotta bring up the Cenk Uygur and Alex Jones confrontation because that is gold. That is hilarious.
Are the Young Turks still active?
Yeah, I believe so.
They still have a show and whatever, do their thing.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I believe this is the footage that InfoWars filmed. This looks like it's them walking up to the Young Turks set to crash the party. Let me skip ahead a little bit.
Welcome to the Young Turks. The oldest of America tonight.
Okay, there's Alex Jones' microphone. Walks right up to the set.
I'm gonna come sit in your lap. How's it going, man? Good to see you, man. You're looking sexy. Hey, how's the revolution going? You guys start the revolution? We are indeed, Alex. The revolution is afoot. Welcome to the Young Turks. The oldest of America tonight. I am going to restore American democracy along with progressives and conservatives in this country. All right. Well, I gotta tell you, I am really, really proud to be here with you. It's good to meet you in person. How are you guys doing? We're doing okay. You like all our Hillary for President shirts everywhere? No, I kind of despise it. What shirts is the best thing for you? You haven't seen? Oh my God, you didn't see me? I don't exist. You didn't see me.
Bill Clinton face with rape on it on a t-shirt. That's hilarious.
I'll take your show. Sure, go ahead. Okay, you know what? Who does this kind of shirt? First of all, sick guy. Second of all, Clinton's not a rapist, Fox. You know who's accused in court papers. You know who's accused in court papers of being
Things get mad. Cenk is shaking.
Didn't you admit that you lied? Didn't you already admit that? No, Elliot's picture, he's a good guy. Alex, this ain't my fucking show. Take it. You're fucking show. Are you afraid to debate him?
Oh my God.
And that goes on for 5 more minutes.
What's important to understand is this is all going out live.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh,
on what channel? Was it on TV?
It would have been online. I don't think it was broadcast on television.
Okay.
No, it's their YouTube channel, but it's a very popular YouTube channel.
It still had thousands upon thousands of people viewing it at the same time. So, hundreds of thousands probably.
I'm gonna have to go watch that just for the visual.
You know, I'll link it to our little Facebook chat so everybody can watch it.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny.
Try to find their feed on it, or just put on
the Young Turks feed on it.
What's that?
You mean the Young Turks angle on that same incident?
Yeah. Because it's more entertaining to see how they get interrupted, and then to see Felicia come up and be like, "You're just a fat," and it's like, she stood for just gets thrown out the window.
She goes low. Yeah, she does some low blows. I remember when she comes out. She gets even more pissed than Cenk did.
It's so entertaining, isn't it?
It is. It's hilarious. So anything else we want to discuss? It's about time to wrap up, actually.
It's great. I can't think of anything. Can you, John?
Nope.
I can't believe you're still here, John. Did you eat dinner yet?
My family just sat down to the table.
Okay.
Well, then it's time for dinner, I think.
Yeah, I actually just made dinner the whole time we were talking, so I just fed Ava.
All right, well, let's call that a wrap, huh?
All right.
All
Thanks,
right, guys. All right, well, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.